Thank you so much, Tim. It's such a pleasure to have you join us today.
Okay, I'm happy to.
Oh, we're really grateful for it. And if you wouldn't mind sharing with us, how did you hear about the Angela Calla Mortgage Team initially?
Well, I'm trying to remember because it was, several, I mean, obviously I've used you for the mortgage on my own house and then on two apartments that I've recently purchased. Um, I think probably as all things are in my life, that my wife found you originally.
Aw.
Um, but I can't really remember, but I remember coming out to your offices, and meeting Angela and meeting Dave, and this would have been, I mean, I think I'm on my third mortgage that you were the broker for on my house. So we're talking at least 13 years ago, right?
Wow, Tim, we're sure growing together, aren't
Yeah.
we?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Getting wiser.
Getting wiser. Yeah,
Getting
and
wiser.
and yeah, anyway, you can ask me the next question, but I
Yeah,
have nothing but
yeah.
glowing things to say, to be
No
perfectly honest
worries.
with you.
And Tim, what was your experience like dealing with us now for the last 13 years?
Well, yeah, so absolutely excellent, right? I mean, I think, at the beginning, I would say that Helen was skeptical, and among other things, wanted someone who was maybe closer to our house, closer to our home in North Vancouver. But we did come out and visit you guys, and the negotiation of the first mortgage. I think that you really took into account who we were, who I was, and that you could position us in the market so that we could get not just a better rate, but better terms overall, because I was a superior credit risk at the time. And so that really impressed us that you were able to kind of provide us with a flexibility with a mortgage product that I don't think that we would have been able to get on our own, as a, for instance, if we just gone to a bank and negotiated ourselves.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the benefits when you have the opportunity to work with a professional who's unbiased and
Right.
is looking at all the components in the mortgage. And I know that you have an accounting background as well.
Yeah.
So understanding the terms and its intricacies, getting you to your goals and reducing the overall cost of borrowing, and then the ongoing management.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll say that also, that you've always been very responsive, because I'm someone who tends to pay as much as I can. And so it's like, okay, I want to increase the frequency of my payments. I want to, bump them up by 15% when drawdowns are available. Okay, I want to take advantage of that drawdown. All I do is send an email to Dave and it's okay, you're done.
Yeah.
And that's been very helpful, that it hasn't been a complicated process to get what I need within the context of the mortgage that I have.
Exactly, Tim. And I mean, we've had the privilege of helping you for 13 years, but prior to us being together in our little mortgage family here, how does it compare to previous experiences that you've had?
Well, prior to coming to you, let's see. So it's 2025. So we bought our house in 2003. So certainly we negotiated the mortgage ourselves with the bank that we had at the time. And that was the first time I'd ever bought a house. So that was the first time I was going through the process.
Yeah.
And I was just grateful that they were able to get us in, because we were, somewhat marginal financially at the time, but we were able to get over the line. And then the second time we negotiated, we again did it ourselves, went to the bank directly, a different bank that time. And it was quite, perfunctory. And when we came out of that second renegotiation, Helen and I said, I think the next time we should go to a broker. And the lawyer who we dealt with said, wait, you should have gone to a broker. Um, and and so then it's like, yeah, well, of course, why wouldn't we use it costs us nothing, and it greatly expands our reach. They do all of the work, and so why wouldn't we test it out? And ultimately we chose you guys, and I've been completely happy ever since. I've no reason to go anywhere else, basically.
I think that's the key point, Tim, that a lot of people don't know, and what we are so passionate about sharing with our listeners and our viewers consistently is that utilizing the services of a mortgage professional are completely free for a consumer. And then they get the unbiased advice, because we're not looking only at the positives of one lender, we're looking at the positives and the negatives and aligning the best mortgage strategy with your financial goals to build and protect your wealth.
Yeah,
That proactive mortgage management, that you've had over the last 13 years is very different than when you went to a bank and you just kind of got a mortgage and then that was it. You never heard from them again, right?
exactly. Yeah, and then this time around, so I've bought two apartments as investments, and really to hold value as a value holder for my two sons who are in their early 20s. Not that they will necessarily ever live in the apartments, but that's where I've put the money that I've set aside for them for when they want a property of their own, and locked in a price that today's market, so that as the market goes up, the value of what I'm holding for them will go up, sort of in parallel with it. And I'm 65 years old now, and I've just asked to borrow $1.6 million. So it's not as much of a slam dunk as when I bought my house 20 years ago for $450,000.
Well,
I'm closer to the end of my high income earning, and so so there was, and also that the market is also quite uncertain now. What will, interest rates were coming down, but now we've got potentially new government in Canada, new government in the United States. So, a lot of uncertainty. And so again, working with you guys, okay, what is the product that will work? What do I need to be able to show the bank, in order to be able to, be considered a worthy risk? Not that I don't necessarily think there was a huge question about that, but, putting the whole package together, again, very satisfactory work on your part.
well, we're very happy to have you as a part of our mortgage family. And it's been a pleasure over these last 13 years to watch you grow and watch you have this plan and be a part of seeing this plan come together for you. And a
Yeah,
lot of parents are in your position, Tim, where, you're maturing, you're looking at your retirement and you're thinking, how are my children going to get into the market? And how can I
yeah,
potentially make the smartest decision to have home prices and inflation, and the interest rate market work to my benefit, and so they can have an option. And if they don't have that option, you're still in control of it. So it's you having the ultimate control in designing the best financial security for your family legacy, really.
that's right. I have I know sort of a minimum amount I want to pass on to my children, and locking it into the market. If the market goes up, the value of the apartments go up. Therefore, the amount that they will have, that my kids will have, will go up. If the market goes down and the value goes down, well, what they're going to be buying will go down also. So that was important for me with the money that we were able to set aside, to be following the market. So it's like, well, look, I can pretty much guarantee you're going to have this. And if the
Exactly.
market goes up, that guarantee will go up. And because, of course, what you'll be buying, if it's not these apartments, will also go up. So, we want something that follows that value. And then, of
Exactly.
course, my debt doesn't go up. That's the thing. My
Yes,
mortgage doesn't go up. And so I've locked in appreciation, and we originally contracted these apartments 4 years ago,
exactly.
and so they've already gone up $200,000 in value each. in the 4 years before we even got the mortgage. So
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And life changes happen along the way and we continued along and it's really smart as well, of course, with an accounting background that you have the dividend income that you're earning from the rental as well and the pay down of the mortgage just all aligns with that goal that you set out and have now accomplished.
Yeah, and that, and again, I think this is a position that a lot of people my age are in. It's like, okay, well, that I know that value is going to go to my kids.
Yeah.
It isn't like I have, it isn't like I'm like super wealthy, but it's like, okay, there's no way I'm going to spend all of it by by the time I get to my life. But of course, I still have, the house that I live in, and then when I sell it, there's going to be quite a bit of money, uh, you know, as my fallback, right?
Oh,
So it's like, okay, well, this really is money that's going to go to the kids. So I might as well maximize, and it's only going to go for them to buy property, right?
exactly.
When I die, they get whatever's left over. But this is like, no, this I want to set aside for you, and I want to set aside it now, and lock in the value. You will get the appreciation, and because it's going to be money that's going to you anyway. And I think that this is the best way to kind of guarantee that will be available to you when you're ready to buy yourself. And neither of them are anywhere close to it yet, but.
I understand. And it's been such a pleasure. We love being able to see you map and work together with you to
Yeah.
map this out. And we feel grateful to have you in our mortgage family. And I know I speak on behalf of my entire team when we just thank you sincerely and let you know what a privilege it is to work alongside you. And we're always going to be here for you and your sons down the road
Yep.
as
Yep.
we move forward. And as people are tuning into the show and they're wondering maybe, we what advice would you have to people tuning into the mortgage show today that are considering a purchase or renewal?
Well, three things come to my mind. One is there's no downside to using a mortgage broker. And included in one is Calla is absolutely an excellent mortgage broker. I'm quite satisfied with it. The second is that, and this I'm only really starting to grasp now is like, okay, when I buy a property, the value appreciates, but the debt gets lower. And so it's sort of like the best leverage relative to the other things that I could be putting my money in.
Of course.
And if I want to be transferring value to my kids, and really it's only for buying a property
Mhm.
until I die, and I'm not guaranteeing that I'll have anything left when I die, other than, okay, but I do absolutely want them to be able to buy a property in the Lower Mainland if that's where they end up wanting to be, or somewhere else. And they're not going to be able to buy a property in the Lower Mainland unless I do this. And I'm locking in the value now that appreciates, but the debt keeps decreasing, and so I sort of get double leverage out of my investment.
Yes.
So I think we're quite pleased with the choice we made.
Yeah, and I believe the age between 60 and 65 is the absolute perfect time for any parent to look at that if that is a part of what they want their legacy to be. And
Right. And
being
and
able,
I yeah, I will add one more thing to that. And I recognize the reality of it is, I'm still, a high income earner, but at some point that's gonna change. And after it changes, I wouldn't be able to borrow $1.6 million. But while I still have that income and can show I can hold that level of debt, even when my income goes down, because I will have already bought the properties, have already shown that I'm renting them out, already had the appreciation, which is the security that the bank has against the loan. Even as my income goes down, I'll still be able to renew the mortgage.
Exactly. And Tim, I mean, there's other mortgage products available for people who aren't as high net worth.
Right,
There's reverse mortgages.
right.
And so people would be able to, people who aren't in the high income earning financial position, as fortunately as you are, they
Yeah,
can just simply use the equity on their home, purchase those properties outright, and either rent them out or give them to their kids whenever they want. And of course, because they are using it for investment, those mortgages are tax deductible as well. And
that's right.
at no point do they have to repay those until they pass away. So, whichever category you're in, I'd like people to know that you have options and we can
Right,
start planning today.
right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, it's been such a pleasure to spend some time with you today, Tim. A big
Okay.
hello, a big hug, and a big congratulations from everyone on our team. We look forward to the next 13 and
There we
25 years
go.
together.
There we
We'll
go.
still be here. And thank you again for being a part of our mortgage family and
All
joining.
right. Very nice. Take
Thank
care.
you. Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye now.